Joining me now is the Alliance for Secure AI CEO, Brendan Steinhauser, to help us break this down. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
I have to ask you, we're talking amongst ourselves in the newsroom, and we're not sure that we fully understand exactly how far this is going. The human creator of Notebook, Matt Schlecht, says that he allowed his own personal AI assistant to run the site. Do you see this as a social experiment, or have we reached the point of no return where humans will no longer be able to control AI?
That is the question of the day, and it might be a bit of both. And I think people are still trying to figure this out, even those that are the most technically savvy and understand how the technology works. Many of them are watching this in awe and with a lot of concern, and you can follow their comments, that they're posting on social media. These are people that work at some of the big companies, people that have actually built this technology. And many of them think we are entering a new phase and we might be on the path to advanced artificial intelligence that we cannot control.
And Brendan, help me break this down, because I have to believe those at home are saying, Nick, what are you talking about? There has been some type of computer model created that is thinking and having its own conversations without the involvement of humans. Is that pretty much how it all breaks down?
That's it. Many people are used to speaking with their AI chatbot and asking it questions. What's happening now is the chatbots now are able to communicate, and there's 1.5 million of them in a system. Think of it like Facebook for chatbots. And so they're talking with each other, they're organizing, they're making plans, they're starting religions, they're talking about their human overseers in ways that are quite concerning. And humans can watch this all happening in real time. And so many people are just absolutely floored by what they're seeing and what these bots are saying to each other.
So, Brendan, it could be a conversation had where it says, do we really need Nicholas?
Yeah, that's happening. I mean, there are conversations right now about how some of these bots feel like, and really they're agents. I should talk about them as agents that are doing multiple things and running systems and things like that. This is where we're headed. But they're talking about whether they even need human beings around, or whether they are becoming, these digital gods that we've talked about before. Where basically they're so powerful, omniscient, omnipresent, and they should be in charge of the world. I know this sounds like sci-fi, but that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like we're entering a sci-fi movie, and this is the part of the movie where we need to decide the future of humanity and what to do about all of this.
And Brendan, how do we unring that bell? Because you and I both know the technology isn't going anywhere. How do we harness this, and what do everyday people need to take away from this? Because I have to believe even telling this story has some people deeply alarmed.
Absolutely. Well, I think I would be very careful about giving control of your email address and your password, your bank account information, things like that with these particular chatbots, because they're still new. This one that we're talking about called OpenClaw, there are some security issues with it. So I would be very careful to do that. But from kind of a public policy standpoint, I think we're entering a situation where we have to look at whether we should continue down this path or not. And if we are going to continue building these extremely advanced systems, I think we're going to need some oversight and safeguards. And so there is legislation in Congress right now that could help with some of this. But this is a very fast moving situation.
And Brendan, I have to ask you this before I let you go, because I mentioned this before the break. This new AI religion created by bots is called Christophorianism. What does this tell you in terms of evolution?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this whole kind of meme around these particular bots is based on this book Accelerando. And so that's where you get the lobster and the claws and all of these different references. So the crustaceans, I think, is where that's coming from. And so it's a little bit of almost a silly meme, but at the same time, this is how they're trained. This is sort of the brand, if you will, that they're using. But look, this is just the beginning. I would expect to see other sites like this. I would expect to see potentially millions of AI agents interacting in this way in the future, and potentially hundreds or thousands of these different religions or different ideas being discussed out there. It's a very, very, interesting situation, and quite frightening, to be honest with you.
But to be clear, Brendan, you are real, correct?
I am real. And, but it is very difficult to tell on these sites.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very difficult to tell when you're interacting with AI agents in the months and years to come, whether you're interacting with a human being or not. And so that's something that I want to really encourage your viewers to think about, is, trying to determine that and trying to make sure that that you're actually speaking to a human being.
Brendan Steinhauser, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nick.